Good evening there, folks. My name is Steve Rennie. I am the Ren Baron, and this is my Ren Baron Learning to Fly YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Looks like we got a nice little group of folks here hanging out tonight. Let me get you up on my screen so I can see what's going on here. All right, first off, let me do my checklist here. Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up, give me a quick yes. I'll wait 10 seconds. That's about what the delay is here. Hello, Gary Haddock from Texas. God, I hope it's warming up in Texas. Today was great for flying on the East Coast. Good for you, D. Macy Vidrine. Let's see, where were you calling in from, D. Macy? I don't know where you're calling. Okay, everybody, we good? Can you hear me okay? I see that I've got levels happening over here. Yes, okay, awesome. Okay, you can see me okay, beautiful. I'm right here in the hangar with my beautiful little bird, 768 Foxtrot Sierra. A couple people have asked me, it's not really my hangar, it's a green screen over a picture of the hangar in Duluth, Minnesota, actually. When I came into their headquarters the day I picked up or saw my plane for the first time, I walked into their lobby and saw this beautiful silver plane behind the plate glass window. I thought, wow, that's a great looking plane. I thought, wow, that's my great looking plane. So I kept the picture, and here we are. Columbia, South Carolina. Hope it's warm down there as well, or hope it's warming up. Crazy world we're living in, folks. And all my friends ask me why I love flying, and it's because up there in the air, it just seems a little bit less crazy. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us here. We've got I've got 10 people here, I guess. Throw me in there. We're almost at a dirty dozen. I thought we'd do something tonight that's just kind of fun for me. I've been working on a new video here, a follow-up to the videos with Ed Waters on how to set up your pilot profile, which I realized was much more specific for Cirrus pilots and might not have been as relevant, or certainly the idea of having your pilot profile, if you can do that in your avionics, is important. But this video here, even though we're doing it in a Cirrus, and it's a little Garmin angle of attack indicator, this idea of angle of attack is something that applies across the board no matter what kind of plane you're flying. And to be quite honest with you, when I first got my Cirrus, and I remember Ed Waters was trying to explain to me the angle of attack indicator, and all I remember was just keep it at 3 o'clock somewhere near the runway. And that was really the level of my understanding of angle of attack. After spending the day, about an hour with Chuck Calley, and not only talking about angle of attack, but actually seeing it all in action, was really kind of an eye-opener for me. And it is something that I've now taken to heart here, and I'm actually much more conscious of it. And one of the things that I've learned is that if you use angle of attack properly, what you get is consistent speed on the way down into approach. And if you're looking to make consistent, stable approaches, having your speed be constant and having a measured descent rate on the way down is important, and it keeps things smooth and keeps them kind of in a little zone of pocket here. So anyway, that's going to be the lesson that I'm going to be posting on Monday evening, so everybody can take a look at it. Now, in editing this video, I've seen it, God, 1,000 times. I see it in my sleep here, so I wanted to show it to you folks tonight just to get some feedback on it, ahead of Monday, and because it's actually kind of nice to sit there and have some folks here that you can actually, even though we're not really talking, we can kind of communicate here in real time, and it's good to see everybody. TW Hicks Incorporated, where are you phoning in from here, TW? Or where are you watching from? It'll take about 10 seconds for that to go through. All right, so let me give you a little background. Chuck Calley, great pilot, a guy I've met through the whole Cirrus world here. Actually, I was introduced to him by Ed Waters, who, if folks haven't heard the story, I met Ed Waters when I took delivery of our plane. My wife and I went back to Knoxville, and Ed was my transition trainer. And he introduced me to Chuck Calley. And so recently I flew to Las Vegas, Ed and I, to film some new content, things that are, again, specific to Cirrus pilots a little bit, but also to play a little golf here. So Chuck actually worked for Cirrus Aircraft. He was one of their regional. He was their regional training manager. He's a Cirrus CSIP, which means he knows that plane backwards and forwards. And so I realize that lots of folks, how lucky I've been, I should say, that I've had a chance to learn how to fly with some really terrific instructors, as it turns out. And I realize also that getting a great instructor is not a given. I've talked to a lot of pilots who've gone through a number of instructors, and so anyway, tonight I'm happy to kind of give you a chance to ride along with a guy like Chuck Calley, who is talented, he's smart, he understands what's going on, but he also has got a great way of delivering the message here. So let me see if I can get this video teed up, and then we can answer some questions. And I have let me just see, let's go here for a second. We'll try out some of my new tricks here. Let's go. Hangar chat. Okay, we got the chat board right here, so we can come and take some questions in real time here. And so let's get after it here and go watch this video, because my Lakers are getting clobbered. I need to get back in there. All right, let's go. Let's go over to video. Start the video. Okay, is it not working? Oh, please, come on now, work here, darling. Play the video up. Let's go start from the beginning. Okay. Angle of attack with Chuck Calley. Hello, my name is Steve Rennie. I am the Ren Baron, and this is my Ren Baron Learning to Fly YouTube channel. I think all of us pilots, no matter how long we've been flying, would like to make better, more consistent landings. And the way to make that happen starts with a consistent and stabilized approach to landing. On today's video, we are in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Henderson Executive Airport, where I'm going to get a lesson from top Cirrus instructor Chuck Calley on how to use angle of attack and an angle of attack indicator to deliver those smooth, silky landings we're all looking for. So come along for the ride.
Okay, Chuck, say hello to the folks here.
It's good to be with you, Steve, and I look forward to our flight today.
Okay, Chuck, you wanted to talk about angle of attack and all the dimensions that can help make us a better pilot. So tell us what we should be doing here today.
Well, what we're going to see today is the execution of angle of attack for an approach to landing, which is a well-discussed and somewhat polarized issue if you read the forum. So you'll notice that there's a red bar, a yellow bar, and a white bar. They're kind of familiar. You see those same things on airspeed indicators. Obviously, the red bar is our approach to stall, or when we're reaching 100% of a critical angle of attack. The yellow area is that margin between our perfect nominal, which is that needle at 3 o'clock, or that 0.6 number.
Right, yeah.
0.6, to be clear, represents 1.3 VS. And in this airplane, Cirrus calibrates that speed or that angle of attack for each flap setting. What we like about this indicator is it works just like all of you old school pilots who used to use airspeed and an airspeed round dial indicator, which basically, as you add back pressure, that needle will move counterclockwise, and if you add a little forward pressure, it will move clockwise. So when we are, as Rennie will demonstrate later, moving on to final approach and trimming for nominal AOA, which is 0.6 or needle at 3 o'clock, you'll see Steve here, the Ren Baron, he will start walking that needle up to 3 o'clock, and you'll notice his left finger trimming the airplane as it goes, and then he'll just simply modify his power for the ride down the glide path to our landing.
As a new Cirrus pilot, all I was ever interested is just get that thing to 3 o'clock. All the other stuff kind of confused me a little bit sometimes. 3 o'clock, that's what I'm looking for.
Steve, that's a great point. Don't pay no attention to the numbers. That's like trying to chase your airspeed indicator. Just walk that needle up to 3 o'clock, trim the airplane, and test it by letting go. Why don't we go to our engine page and put in our weight and balance, and this way we can show to folks our relationship between our actual weight. Bring up a cursor here on your weight.
That is my weight, my true weight.
Sadly, that's not mine. I'm going to put this in for me. Okay. What about those numbers in the passenger? Would you say 10 pounds?
Let's see, what do we got back there? Yeah, I'd say 10 pounds back there. I got a couple flight bags.
Alrighty, and same thing over here?
Probably 10 on that side.
We're going to enter. And I know that we took all the golf clubs and
pretty much, let's call it 10 back there. Just
we got 10 pounds.
Cleaning equipment.
Perfect. So I'd like to point out that our current weight is 3,319 pounds. By the time we take off, we're going to be about
that right here.
300 pounds under maximum gross weight.
Okay.
In the good old days, before we had wonderful angle of attack indicators in our airplane, we would have, in a Cirrus, said, gosh, I'm going to reduce my final approach speed by about 1 knot per 100 pounds under gross weight. Therefore, I would expect if we were using an 80 knot final approach speed for a fully loaded airplane, 77 would be optimal for an airplane 300 pounds under gross.
Go to the ramp. Have a good afternoon.
Walks that needle up to 3 o'clock, and that's pointing at 3 o'clock. We should probably see an airspeed somewhere around 77 knots. Let's go find out.
Current wind is showing 360 at 8 knots.
All right, so let me get my frequencies up top. So we got 1251. I like them up top for me here. And then we've got ground is 1278. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna get all these in here. Strobe light. We're already started up, so that's all good. Everything's getting green. So let's go. Flaps are up. Check all this stuff. I always choke when I got somebody new in the plane here. Cabin heat frost. Fuel is on the right tank. For takeoff. Doors are latched and closed.
Check.
Caps handled, seatbelt, shoulder harnesses secure. Air conditioner not required at the moment. Fuel quantity we've confirmed. We're on the fullest tank. Fuel pump is in boost. Mixture is full rich. Flaps are set for 50. Let's set them for 50 right here. Transponder is going to be VFR here today. Autopilot. We're not going to use autopilot here today. So navigation radio. We got tower and ground in there. Cabin heat frost brakes are holding. Let's go to 1700 here. 17. Come on. Count the popping. 17. Okay, there's 17. Go check our lights. Strobes are on. Landing light is on. Should come up a little bit. Did. Ice makes it come up a little bit further. Pitot heat will blow out Alt 2. Cut off Alt 1. That one's shedding. The other's picking it up. That's good. Alt 2, I'm going to kick that one off, and that's shedding. The other one's picking up. That's all good. Pitot heat off. Ice off. I guess we'll keep our landing lights on for right now. Check our mags here. At a drop of 50, that's acceptable. Check our right mag, 1710 to, well, they're synced up nicely. Must have just had the plane in the shop. I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Things are looking good.
Everything's good. Let's bring her back to 1000 here. Pardon my obsession with the checklist here. Everything's good right there.
Actually, I'd like to point out that Steve did a wonderful thing there. He understood his run-up to the extent where he could do it as a flow. He loaded up his system, his electrical system. He checked. He verified by load shedding by shutting off alternators. Not necessarily in the POH checklist, but not a bad thing to know if you're being thorough. And then he checked the mag drop by in a typical way, and then came back and made sure he didn't miss anything on the checklist. This is an extremely good lesson. Too many people spend so much time reading each line, and the engine is there running at 1700 for so long and picking up stones and just basically.
Well, to be fair, I might have been that guy early on, but I've kind of got the flow in here. But I
I
love
wanted
the
to point
checklist.
that out for our viewers because I'm very impressed with the way you did that flow.
I appreciate that. Okay, pitot heat not going to be required here. Navigation lights, those are not required. Lane light, we're going to put it on because we're going to be in the pattern. We checked all that. Engine parameters are all getting green. How easy could that be, Chuck, for new pilots? Power levers at 1000-ish. Flight instruments are checked. We got that's all good. Let's go. Flight controls, left is up, right is down, right is up, left is down. Everything is flowing nicely, feeling slick. Let's get our trim, get that back down in the zone there. That's all set. Autopilot, we're not going to be using autopilot here. And I'm going to go to my, I know how to take off.
Oh, you do? All right, that's good.
Well, you're going to actually, you'll let me know.
Do I need to pull my seat forward?
Well, don't fall asleep on me here, Chuck. You never know.
I just want to make a couple of notes there for our viewers. Number one, today's demonstration is how to use the Garmin angle of attack feature on the Cirrus Perspective airplanes. It's a wonderful tool, and it is the primary tool for what the angle of attack of your wing is, or said another way, how much lift reserve there is. Having an angle of attack or using an angle of attack indicator, it probably won't take stupid out of play if somebody's not paying attention, but it will establish the proper approach speed for the environment and from there it's up to the pilot to land the airplane. And I'm pretty sure Steve knows how to do that.
The thing that's great about a Cirrus from a new pilot perspective is these little things that you can just glance at and get a great validation on the stuff you're doing, right?
Well, validation is the perfect word actually, because so many times I read, and they're all well-meaning instructors, but they say, you know, your eyes should be out the window, your eyes should be out the window. Well, yeah, your eyes should be out the window, but I don't think they need to be all the time out the window. In fact, I have a saying that goes something like this, Steve. It's called, fast eyes, slow hands wins the day.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because obviously you want to see it, but you have chances just to glance down and verify. You know, it's that old Russian saying, trust but verify.
Sure.
I trust my eyes, but I also know the equipment in this plane is so spot on. And why would you pay $1 million and not use all the tools of the trade? But your eyes are the ones that'll be there last.
Absolutely.
But in between, you can make your brain a lot smarter with some of this stuff. Henderson Towers, Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra, at Transient Parking with Sierra, ready to taxi.
Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra, Henderson Tower, what's your direction of flight today?
We're just going to be flying in the pattern a couple times.
So you want to do pattern work, okay? Sierra 768 Papa Sierra, use caution for the jet southbound on the ramp there, runway 35 left, taxi via Echo and Alpha.
35 left, taxi via Echo and Alpha, and I'll pass behind this jet here. Thank you, Foxtrot Sierra.
So while we're taxiing out, I do want to say, you know, there's always a lot of discussions when we talk about angle of attack. And I try to get ahead of this by saying we're not here to demonstrate how it won't kill you or it'll reduce loss of control accidents, because truly, you know, pilots must be vigilant, and, you know, sometimes pilots get distracted. And part of the problem, I think, Steve, is that pilots are mostly introduced to airspeed and not angle of attack. They don't really understand angle of attack. And I'm not going to go into a lengthy description of it here today. I think you're going to demonstrate it with your flying. The goal now for this departure is simply we're going to stay in the pattern, and you're going to fly FOM speeds all the way around, and power settings.
Sierra 768 Papa Foxtrot Sierra, are you ready to go?
Ready to go, Abe.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there before we get going and see if we can answer a couple of these questions here. First off, Jay Mullen, did he say 1 knot for every 100 pounds below gross? Yes, he did. And so the numbers that Cirrus typically wants you to be at is about 80 on close to final there over the runway. And so in this case, we're going to be looking for 77 knots. So that's something you should look for when we're playing the video here. He also, Gary Haddock here wanted to know, how do you account for headwind or crosswinds when using the AOA? With a headwind in your face, I don't think it makes a difference, because one is affecting ground speed. The angle of attack indicator is based on the airspeed up in the air here. So I think the idea is to keep it consistently at that AOA number, which in this case for today is going to be 77 knots. If you got a crosswind, well then I think that one doesn't matter what else is going on. If you got a wind coming from the right, you better be pitching that plane a little bit into the right. Ditto on the left here, and so one of the tools in the Cirrus, which is terrific, you know, I've noticed there's a couple of Cirrus pilots in here. I know J.P. Hayes here, who's from Texas, El Paso, Texas. He just got a brand new Cirrus. That little green dot, I like to call it, you put that in the middle of the runway. It doesn't matter if your plane's pointing off to, you know, to Mexico. If that green dot's on the runway, you're probably looking pretty good here, you know. A couple other things Chuck mentioned here that are not in the video. He talked about flying the Cirrus numbers. For a Cirrus, you know, the standard book numbers for Cirrus is they want you to be at 100 knots and 40% power in the downwind, right? And the idea is to get there as quickly as you can here. Once you get about a beam the middle of the runway here, or your touchdown point, they want you to put in flaps, your first level of flaps. As you get toward the end of the runway, excuse me, you start pulling back power a little bit right before you get into the base turn. And once you make that base turn, they want you to pull back power to 30%. You want to be going down at about 90 knots on the on the base turn, and as you turn final 90 and ultimately slowing it down to 77 knots. So those are some of the numbers that Chuck talked about. So let's go back to the video here, and I'll shut up and you guys can watch. The one thing I will ask you to take note of is if I played the endings of these videos for you, the last 45 seconds to a minute, the numbers all look the same. But as you'll see in these 3 videos, what happened from the start till the end was a lot different. And I think that Chuck does the last one. I'll save my showbiz instincts. Let's save him for last. Anyway, here we go.
Foxtrot Sierra.
Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra, make left traffic, report midfield downwind each pass, runway 35 left, intersection Bravo, cleared for takeoff.
35 left, clear for takeoff, 8 Foxtrot Sierra, thank you. Alright, let's get it. Okay.
Alright, here we go.
Yeah, right, rudder in there, power's all the way in, let's go, 1 went down, 2 went down, 3, she's all the way in.
Numbers are looking good, tad low on manifold pressure, fuel flow, there we go, thank you. Oh, those look great. Those are great numbers.
Anderson Tower, 72 Lima's, hold short, 35 left at Bravo.
Okay, flaps up, 90.
Skyhawk 3872 Lima, traffic short final, obviously lands the parallel. For you, right downwind departures approved, runway 35 left, intersection Bravo, cleared for takeoff.
That'll do it.
35 left, clear for takeoff
Alright,
at
airplanes
intersection
didn't help.
Bravo, and I'll be a right
So,
departure.
straight ahead here.
Diamond Star 877 Uniform Sierra, your squawk code 4605, and Las Vegas departure frequency 125.9er.
Okay, we want 3,500 pattern altitude here.
Right, and we're looking for caps available.
Who's available was 3,200 right about now.
Uniform Sierra.
Number 877 Uniform Sierra, roger.
There's our little lady. Okay, I'm going to start turning them over here. Get rid of that flight director now.
Thank you. And for those of you wondering, Steve and I did do a CAPS briefing in the ground school while we were planning this flight, so we were very much
Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra, you need to turn a little tighter there, you're entering a class Bravo.
Turning tighter, 8 Foxtrot Sierra. Sorry, my first time in the neighborhood.
Premier 390 Juliet Victor, I have your release. Do you have the Skyhawk off the departure end in sight?
Yeah, you've heard it, 0 Juliet Victor.
Okay,
Zero Juliet Victor, he's making a right downwind departure.
so
And
now,
in separation with that
pull it
aircraft,
back
course
to
is
40%
momentarily. Runway 35
Get some
left,
flaps
cleared
in there.
for takeoff.
35
Slow us
left,
down a
maintain
little
visual
bit.
separation with the says. 390 Juliet Victor.
Yeah, you turn it down a little bit.
Archer 55167, hold short, runway 35 left.
Okay, there's our 40%. Flaps in.
left, Archer 167.
Speed's
Skyhawk
dropping nicely.
3872 Lima, I see you in the right turn there. Contact departure, have a safe flight.
72 Lima, I'll be going to departure. Thank you for your help.
Okay, there's our 3,500. There's 40%.
Oh, looking good, Steve. So we're looking at
Thank
about
you. You
15
gotta
and a
have
half
the,
inches of
mic on.
manifold pressure. It's pretty much a
I was
magic
saying that
number.
was going way too
Okay,
fast
take
as
a
I
step
had that
between
down a
straight
minute.
and
We'll
flying
talk
here.
about that a little bit later.
Okay, so we want 2,500 is the number on the ground here, so I'm going to start. There's 100.
Thanks, bow worker.
And tower 8 Foxtrot Sierra is going to be full stop taxi banks.
Sierra 768 Papa Sierra, roger. Caution wake turbulence, Premier Jet, departure roll, runway 35 left, cleared to land.
35 left, clear to land, 8 Foxtrot Sierra. Okay, so now reduce power just a little bit because I want to drop a little bit of altitude here, right?
Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra, did you copy?
I copied 35 left, clear to land, 8 Foxtrot Sierra.
Archer 55167,
Yeah,
cross
we
runway
get the
35 left,
road here,
contact
give me a little room
the
here.
ramp, have a good day.
Yeah, I'd say start your turn now.
Okay, so I'm going to drop the power back to 30, which I'm at, and put in the flaps here. Lean into it.
Premier 390 Juliet Victor, contact Las Vegas departure, have a safe flight.
Plane come down.
Archer 0 Juliet Victor. Thanks, have a great day. Anderson Tower, Remo 72 Golf X-ray at row 5, ready for takeoff with southwest departure with information Sierra.
Remo 72 Golf X-ray, Henderson ground, runway 35 left, taxi via Delta Alpha.
Yeah, 35 left.
Taxi via Delta Alpha. Remo 72 Golf X-ray.
Yeah, let's put it
Remo
in.
72 Golf X-ray, rudder, someone else was calling, it was garbled, say
Two
again.
reds, two whites, we're looking good.
Looking great,
that was,
Steve. And now as we roll out on final, just start
taxi.
walking that
Power back on
35
turning this
left.
way.
and that needle up to 12, up to 3 o'clock.
Henderson, Remo 72 Golf X-ray.
Remo 72 Golf X-ray,
So I
rudder,
wanted
I
to get
copied
this
that, sir.
one
It sounded
take,
like
folks,
someone
and see
else
if
was
we
trying to
can-
key up over you, that's why I was asking if there was someone else there.
Sorry
Keep
about
walking
that,
it up. Be a little bit more aggressive. Get that needle up to 3 o'clock. And then you know for sure what to do with your power. Perfect. Now you got 3 whites, see? Yeah, get that needle up. Get that needle up. We guessed 77. And we're coming up just below 80 here. Perfect. Looking
Actually,
good.
not
At
quite
this point,
perfect.
we are looking out
Chuck's
the
gonna
window.
show you
Runway is
perfect later.
assured.
I'm just taking that power back, keep my eyes down the runway here.
Wonderful.
That's as good as I got, Chuck.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, I want to do one more.
He wasn't that impressed, I can tell.
All right, so that was great. You did a great job. We leveled at 100 knots. And then let's just add a beam or touchdown. I'm going to reduce my power here to 40% or whatever, 30% and bring in 50% flaps.
All right.
All right, there goes his right turn. Looking
Yeah, let's
good.
go. Look at get that right runner in there, sports fan. Power's all the way in.
All right, we're not going into that blue line. Numbers look good. Beautiful.
Now you notice here we've got our VFR
David
charts
377
loaded,
uniform
which we
Sierra,
should have done the first
departure,
time.
have a safe flight.
I overlooked it.
Contact for Las Vegas departure. Thank you, sir. 877 US.
But once we get past this freeway, you want me into that turn.
Yeah, well, claps available at 3100 and we'll be turning right about there. Okay, here we are. Here's our blue line. If we have to turn early, we will. I don't want this guy getting nervous.
Yeah, neither do I. We're gonna start turning
I'd
into
say
it.
now's a good time to start turning.
Now you'll notice again here, I'm really
Let's keep-
fast coming out of the box here.
So we were just going into it on the north. On this side, we were fine, it looks like.
Right,
That
no, there's no
was-
problem. Yeah, there's no problem.
Okay, so I'll go a little wider here. Start pulling back a little bit of power right here.
Really slow on pulling back that power. That was one of the lessons I learned here. You got to pull that power back from 100 to 40 in one go.
Henderson Tower,
Don't mess
Cherokee
around.
1894 to the southwest, 4,000. We got to climb to
Yeah, let's go
4,500.
this way here.
10 miles of information, Tango, full stop.
Yeah, I'm glad you handle the radios there, Chad.
Right, well, I'll announce midfield. Don't worry.
3,500.
Turn Chuck into my
And
caddy.
power's back to what power?
I'm sorry, I missed that call.
Yes, Cherokee 1894, about 9 out to the southwest,
Alright, so we're just
4,500
about
with
midfield
information,
now.
Tango, full stop.
Archery 1894 Henderson Tower.
Now I'm gonna
Straight in for runway
Check
35
that
left and
right
report a
there.
3-mile final.
Go back.
Straight air 35 left, report a 3-mile final, I believe, Cherokee 894.
Okay, now you want me back to
Foxtrot
40.
Sierra is midfield.
November 8 Foxtrot Sierra, runway 35 left, cleared to land.
Clear to land, 35 west, 8 Fox here.
Okay, there. Let's get it a little bit, square it up a little bit here. So there's 3,500.
There's our 100 knots.
There's our 100 knots.
Alrighty, perfectly, and now we're going to just start letting the airplane descend at 100 knots.
Henderson Tower, Remo 72 Golf X-ray, ready for takeoff at 35 left at Alpha.
Yeah, let's go back to 30% now.
Remo 72 Golf X-ray traffic, Cirrus, turning about a 1.5 mile base, left downwind departure approved, runway 35 left,
Let her
cleared for
descend.
takeoff.
Let her descend, and let's start that base turn.
35 left, clear for
Put my
takeoff.
flaps in here.
72 Golf X-ray.
Cirrus 768 Papa Sierra, light sport rounding the corner, departure roll.
Got him inside 8 Foxtrot Sierra.
That was for us.
0 Foxtrots here. This guy keeps wanting to.
He's using the wrong tail number, isn't he? Okay, anyway, we're going to concentrate on what we're doing here. We're looking at 90 knots on our base. Okay?
Right on.
Looking good.
Altitude.
If I could get off the ground.
Our guy's running, rolling, no problem. Perfect 90 knots, doing an excellent job, Steve. Here we go, now as you start rolling out on final.
Starting to trim it up a little bit.
Beautiful, walk that needle to 3 o'clock and set your power.
Now, once again, you'll notice I'm slow getting that needle up to 3, as Chuck will remind me here shortly. All right, here I'm feeling pretty good coming in here.
As you walk that needle back up to 3 o'clock, probably find out we're a couple of, we got 4 reds, there we go.
All right, so now I got the
One
needle,
line, beautiful.
and sure enough, you'll see the 77.
There's 77 knots and 3 o'clock, just as we predicted.
Guys down the runway, slowly picking it up.
Right, at no time during the landing flare are we ever looking at the angle of attack indicator. Beautiful.
How'd I do, Chuck?
Another good one. Another good one. One of the things we like to do on the final, or the downwinds on this whole pattern, is try to get people to achieve the book numbers just as quickly as possible.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break here and see how we're doing here. I see we got a couple new guys here. Scott Pritchett, nice to see you here tonight. Nice to meet you. Where are you? Oh, you're in Bay Area, obviously. That's Hayward, I believe, right? So you're used to having to avoid Bravo airspace, or Class Charlie, I guess, for Oakland. I should have had my charts up there. Right before we came to Las Vegas, I filmed this little bit with Chuck after Ed and I arrived in Las Vegas. So we had changed all my pilot profile numbers here, so I don't want to blame it on Ed because I'm still the pilot in command here. But I didn't make the transition mentally, even though we were just flying in the pattern. You still got to be having your head on at all times here, and so I didn't put my VFR charts up in front of me, which I should have done. So demerit for me there. Chuck just brought up an interesting point again. When you're doing this and you're trying to do it according to the Cirrus book, they want you into that pattern. They want you into that downwind. They want you to be at specific numbers. And if you go back and look at the first 2 videos here, you'll see that I was consistently fast out of the box. And one of the reasons that is because I'm always flying with my toga set for 7% there, which gets you 120 knot climb out if you're going if you're flying to Phoenix, for example, right? When you're flying in the pattern, you actually have to control your power a little bit more. So that was a good habit / bad habit, because what was happening there is I wasn't flying the plane. I was just flying it just the way I always did and wasn't taking into consideration the context here, which is I was going into a pattern and had to pull back from 100 knots back to 40, and you got to do it in one swoop here, and it actually is pulling it back quite a bit. So I kind of inched it down here, and as a result, you'll see if you stop the video when I'm making that turn into the crosswind and then into the downwind, I'm going way too freaking fast here. And on the first pass, I don't know if you noticed, I had to put the flaps in early just to slow the plane down. So while I got the plane ultimately to those numbers, it was much later than I should have, and it's something that I practiced since I've gotten home. Okay, so we got a couple other folks here. I got Alex Friedman here. Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you, Alex. Where you dialing in from? Brian Anderson. I've flown a Bonanza with AOA on the Clear Shield and found it an extremely helpful tool. Great. I noticed, I looked online to see what it costs to do an AOA add-on, and it winds up, it looks like it's somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 to actually put an angle of attack indicator into your plane if you didn't have it in the beginning. I'm a big believer in it, and now that I kind of understand the concept and the reality of it much better, I can tell you it's a great tool to have with you there. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, as somebody who started late to being a pilot, I've been accused by some of my my peer group pilots that have been flying a lot more, that I'm way too into all the instruments and that stuff. And while I take that with a grain of salt, I'm a big believer in technology, and particularly things that can help make you a safer pilot. So I'm happy to see some of these other folks are having their AOAs put in as well here. So okay, so now I'm going to show you the difference between a rookie here and a grizzly old vet. When I say grizzly old vet, I could qualify as a grizzly old vet, but I'm not an experienced grizzly old vet when it comes to flying a plane. Chuck is. So I'm going to go back to the video here, and we're going to show you how this is really supposed to happen here, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. All right, back to the video here.
Get some airflow over that rudder, about 30% power. My heels are on the ground. My eyes are out the window. I'm bringing the power all the way up to the stop. Numbers are looking good. Plenty of fuel flow. Get back on the center line. Here comes our rotation speed. Up, up and away.
Beautiful flying machine.
There we go. It's a beautiful flying machine. Adjusted that manifold pressure just a tad. Beautiful. Flaps are coming up. We're right at our VY, about 96. Let's come here. There we go. 103. Beautiful. Passing 2800. Plenty of room. Yaw damper is on. There we go. Coming up on 3,000 feet. Start that left turn.
We're not getting that 600 call out.
Yeah, I just heard it.
Oh, you did?
Apps is available.
Okay.
All right, our pattern altitude is going to be 3,500 today, 3,400. I'm going to start bringing that power all the way back. %.
All right, so you got to 40 earlier, okay.
Yeah, and I'm at about 100, between 100 and 110, which I like. Where's my airport? There it is. So we're trimmed up pretty much on speed here.
All right, I see what you mean now. There should have been 40 coming out of the box there.
Yeah.
That was too hot. I was doing $120 here.
Yep. And Tower 8 Fox Sierra is midfield.
Cirrus 768 Foxtrot Sierra, runway 35 left, cleared to land.
Clear to land, 35 left. I believe this will be the last one.
Roger that.
All right, so coming up would be my touchdown zone there at the 1,000-foot markers. My power is going to come back here to about 30%, and I'm going to bring in some flaps, and I'm going to let the airplane kind of push into it. But I'm going to try and maintain 100 knots as we start losing altitude here.
Got it right on 100.
Yeah.
You're done?
I'm a little bit rusty right now. Making excuses, as always.
I got it.
All right. There's our airport. Let's going to start that base turn. Bring those flaps in.
Yeah, your way so you can see here.
Yeah, and we'll try and maintain 90 knots here.
Got 90. That's what a pro does, folks. They come in tight. I guess rookies.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have like 4 reds or something. But there's pretty much my 90 knots. I'm going to set my pressure, my power right about where I want it. There's my 500-foot call out. I start this turn. And I'm slowly walking that needle up to 3 o'clock.
Now you'll notice he gets that needle to 3 o'clock a lot faster than I did. That's my big takeaway here.
I'm a little bit high, so I'll take some power off, but keep that needle pretty much at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I see what you did there. You got the needle to 3 early.
Right, and notice the airspeed is right on what we calculated it would be. I'll take off a little bit more power.
Okay.
Alrighty. Keeping that needle at 3. Here comes the first red light.
You're coming in a lot steeper,
There
but
we
with
go.
good
A little bit
speed.
steeper. That's kind of
Good
a
speed.
trademark of mine. Looking out at the end of the runway. Slowly bringing that power off.
letting it run out of air.
And just holding it off, and there's the landing.
Are we on the ground yet, Chuck?
And the nose wheel comes down all by itself, and now I can add a little bit of brake.
Pull over and let me out. I'm gonna have to sell my Cirrus now. Feel like a rookie.
And there we have it.
Okay, there you have it. Angle of attack with my friend Chuck Cali. I'll say this. I thought I was doing pretty good until I got a chance to watch a real old pro at work. Clearly, I've got a lot to learn. While those landings might have looked similar at the end, there was a lot of stuff between the beginning and the end that I need to work on. So I'm going to head back to Santa Monica Airport when I get home and get it right. And I'm going to come back and show it to you when I'm done. And perhaps I can get my friend Chuck Cali to join us on a live broadcast where you can ask him some questions about angle of attack. If you enjoyed today's video, okay, enough pitching for subscribers and likes here. I want to thank you guys for joining me here tonight. That was fun watching. I don't know if for you guys, but it's fun for me watching Chuck do everything right there, you know, everything you're supposed to do. And he did it pretty effortlessly there. And when I actually had a chance to compare the first two passes that I did and then Chuck's, it was a reminder to me why I think that cockpit video, for me, maybe not for everybody, but for me, has been such a helpful tool because it allows you to kind of sit at your desk and do what you can't do in a plane, which is hit the stop button and think about it and what's happening, right? And so I've dissected these videos a million ways to sundown. I put timers on them to see where I was at 1 minute, where Chuck was, all the way around the pattern there. And like I say, at the end, the numbers look very similar. In between, there was a lot of stuff going on that I needed to work on. One in particular was controlling my speed. The way to do that is with your throttle and your pitch. Those are things they've taught you a million times. But when you're in that moment, those lessons kind of go away. But when you get in the moment and you're conscious and you actually execute, then they kind of stick. And I don't know how it is for you folks, but for me, that's definitely the case. I see we got, excuse me, some new folks in here. We got Amish Showroom. Thank you for the great content. I appreciate that. It's fun to do. Cirrus Wings, besides the angle of attack, you look at the green donuts as well. Is that what you call it, the green donut? I think I like that, the green donut. Like, yes, I look at that green donut a lot. You know, yeah, it's one of my favorite ones because, you know what, again, it's not a gimmick. This is the height of technology. You put that green donut, if that's what you want to call it. I think it's the flight path indicator. I get all these terms wrong here, but I know what we're talking about. I glance at that stuff. I mentioned early in the video that one of the things they teach you when you first start learning how to fly is to keep your eyes out of the plane. Well, I think, that's definitely true. But I think back in the days when you didn't have some of the great technology you had today, there was a lot more stuff to be looking around at and so forth with the PFDs and MFDs today, where you have all that information right in front of you. Once you know where to look, you can just glance down at it quickly and get that little bit of validation you see. So that green donut is one of my little validation things here. And the angle of attack was really a great lesson. So to wrap it up here, like I said, I mentioned I came back to Santa Monica and I flew the pattern a few times at Santa Monica, which I haven't done much, and I used to do quite a bit when I first started, and took on board all the things that I learned here. So I would encourage you folks, if you get a chance and you're really serious about it, go take a look and stop the video and start to see what's different in each of those passes here, right? See why I'm fast. See how, I kind of work around it by hitting the flaps early, and because I understand I need to be at a certain speed, and I got there kind of in a rough way. It's like watching golfers. They can put a ball here and they'll be hitting to a certain spot, and 3 or 4 different golfers might all do it a different way here. When you're flying a Cirrus, they like you to do it one way, and so I learned some valuable lessons about that here today. I want to thank everybody for joining me here tonight. This is a fun way for me to do this, and I'll ask you before I leave. I want to get Chuck back, and I've been working here. As some of you guys have seen me make a bunch of false starts here with these live, streaming events here. What I want to do is get Chuck back to take a look at my mulligan, if you will, that I filmed at Santa Monica, where I really did hit the numbers there, and to have him come on the air and get him on Skype, where folks like yourself can ask him questions, because I think it's it's one of the great things about the internet. There's a lot of kooky shit going on with the internet, but one of the things that's great about it is the ability to connect people, and I'm a big believer in that. And back in my music business days, I had a little live web show that I did where we had invited people from around the world to talk to people in the music business and so forth, and it was really a wonderful experience and a lot of fun for me to do that. And so I've been secretly edging back to trying to get that to happen. Unfortunately, for today it's just me. Back then I had a whole team of people that would help me out, and all I had to do was show up and talk. So anyway, I want to thank you all. That's Brian and Ken. Brian, thanks for the nice comments here. Appreciate your time. Content, I'm happy to do it, folks, because even though I kind of hate editing all these videos, the truth of the matter is it's a great learning experience for me because it imprints the lessons in my mind. So that tomorrow I'm going to head out early. I'll be flying with my wife down to Phoenix, Arizona, and when they talk about chair flying, I do a lot of that with that editing. So anyway, I want to thank everybody here for joining me here tonight. I'm going to go back to my little controller here and head on in and go watch some Lakers. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for supporting the channel here. The video will be posted on Monday, so you can deep dive on it, and we'll be back hopefully the following Monday with my little mulligan and my friend Chuck Calley to join us. My name is Steve Rennie. I am the Ren Baron. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Have a great weekend, and I will see you again soon. Talk to you later.